If you had $8,000, how would you spend it? Maybe a motorcycle or a car or 27 Oculus Quest 2s or this. This is the most expensive VR headset in the world, at least that you can buy. And it's jam-packed with some crazy features, and we're taking a look at it. But there's more to this than meets the eye, because somehow this $8,000 headset just might save the US government hundreds of millions. Let's get right into it. Welcome to Virtually Odd, the place where I look at weird VR equipment or technology, whether it's from the past or the future, and fact is, the virtual reality industry has spawned some of the craziest tech I have ever seen. From brain-computer interfaces to laser technology, AR and VR bring something very special to the plate. And today's odd equipment is none other than the fabled XTAL 8K by VRGineers, or VRGineers. Enough stupid jokes, let me give a quick intro on this headset because it deserves it. This is the XTAL. On paper, this headset is an absolute beast, packing a completely ridiculous resolution of 7680 by 2160. It's not true 8K like the name suggests, but it is true native 4K resolution per eye. Not only that, but the XTAL rocks a 180-degree field of view, shattering pretty much every headset out there besides a Pimax or maybe a Star VR1. But it doesn't stop there. On board, this headset also has eye tracking, built-in foveated rendering support, ultra leap motion hand tracking and finger tracking, and automatically adjusting IPD, meaning you never have to guess what your IPD is again. Using the eye tracking module and built-in servos, with a click of a button, the XTAL automatically adjusts the lens's IPD settings to exactly where my pupils are, measured by the cameras that are already looking at my eyes. It's genius. Starting the calibration, you hear the servos going off and you see the lens is moving right into focus in front of your eyes. As someone that's used to doing this whole motion on VR headsets, it makes me smile. And with this clip-on cradle you see on my unit, the headset is also fully SteamVR compatible, so I can use base stations for tracking and you can play any game that you can play on any other headset. And that's where the XTAL gets confusing. So of course, what's one of the first things I do with an $8,000 VR headset that I have on loan? The only right thing, of course. Meet up with my friends and party a little in VR chat with some good old Population 1 for dessert. If you thought a Valve Index and full body tracking was a flex in VR chat, try pulling up to the Void Club with one of these puppies on. But that's actually just the thing. Yeah, the headset looks really nice from the inside. Actually, one of the clearest VR headsets with the widest field of view I've ever used. It's like having Reverb G2 clarity, just way wider FOV, and you don't have the distortion of a Pimax headset. But do I really want to do a handstand or take shots with the Lamborghini of VR headsets on? No. No. Do I even really want to wear something on my face for 6 or 7 hours that weighs this much and is this huge? And that's something I haven't really talked about because I didn't think it would be that big of a deal, but pun intended, the big nature of this headset is a big deal. I found while playing pretty hardcore that the XTAL isn't good for jumping around and being super active in VR. I've worn heavy headsets. Shoot, the Valve Index isn't light and that's what I use all the time, and I'm used to big headsets as well. Pimax headsets are always pretty large, making even the Index look small, and makes the Quest 2 look like a mini headset. But the XTAL is in a league of its own entirely. I can fit almost 2 Quest 2s inside of the XTAL. And the problem of size becomes more of an issue because of where the weight is distributed. For the XTAL, it's over my face and to the sides. It's not uncomfortable, but it's also not as comfortable as I'm used to. And playing some of my favorite VR games like Boneworks shows a pretty decent flaw in using the XTAL as a typical consumer VR headset. It's bulky, I'm moving around a lot, ducking, crouching, punching, doing typical VR stuff, and it doesn't feel great. Population 1 doesn't feel much better either. Climbing and jerky movements tend to move around the front of the headset ever so slightly, so these custom non-Fresnel pancake lenses make what I'm looking at a little blurry. It's not terrible, and it's only while I'm moving around like crazy, but it's blurrier than what I'm used to, which kinda sucks. It feels like I'm wasting all of those extra pixels I'm rendering. Plus, if you want to run the headset at its native resolution, you're stuck at 75 Hz. Ouch. Yeah, it is capable of 120 Hz, but that requires dropping the resolution all the way down to 2560 by 1440. But of course, that's assuming you even have the specs to run an XTAL. If you can afford this, I can also assume you can afford any graphics card out there, but you'll need at least a 2080 Ti or 3090 or even a Quadro GPU to really use the XTAL. Maybe a 2080 at the least, but there's something kind of worse. It's the biggest offender of this entire headset, at least for a consumer. This is a, once again, $8,000 VR headset. And you want to know what it doesn't have? Well, it does have eye tracking, crazy displays, expandability, but it doesn't have any headphones. The XTAL 8K has no built-in audio at all. Instead, you get a headphone jack. No head strap audio or anything else though, which I would understand if I could fit my headphones over the XTAL's head strap, but I can't. So with this headset that costs almost as much as 6 months rent, I'm using $15 earbuds because that's all that I have that fits. It's ironic, because as long as I'm not running around shaking the headset on my head, I get the absolute best visual experience I have ever gotten with a VR headset on, yet the other half of the immersion equation, that being audio, is just missing. So the XTAL at this point maybe seems like an overpriced, impractical, feature overstuffed VR headset with no clear user in mind, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah, to be honest, I think it sucks for playing Population 1 and Boneworks, and I can't be nearly as nimble with this thing on. And no, I don't want to do cartwheels in VR chat with this monster on my face. But wait, that's not what this is for. The XTAL wasn't designed for this. It was designed for this. And everything begins to make way more sense, from the cost to the features, its implementation, and its story. The puzzle pieces come together, and this is what truly makes the XTAL an odd piece of hardware. Of course, you can play any game you want with an XTAL, but just like how I wouldn't take a Formula 1 car as my daily driver to the mall, I wouldn't use an XTAL to play casual games. At least not all the time. This is a headset designed for 3 primary purposes, automotive design being one, and it's doing well at that. This automotive demo provided by XTAL is absolutely earth-shattering, but the real money lies here. Every month, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Department of Defense contracts are signed as the DoD finds companies to fulfill tasks. Now, whether that's $200 billion on new missiles or a few million on VR headsets for flight simulators, DoD money is a stream of cash that seemingly never stops flowing. And to be fair, it's the reason why the XTAL is the way it is. VRGineers have worked directly with the United States Air Force and Navy to develop the XTAL and its accompanying motion simulator. Every feature on the XTAL is there for a reason, and it makes it the best out there for simulating being in a cockpit, or to introduce better training with virtual environments, as it's being used by NASA for just that. But the real reason this headset costs an astonishing $8,000, almost the cost of 27 Oculus Quest 2s, likely isn't because this thing actually costs $8,000 to manufacture, but because it's the only headset in the world that has all of these features in one package. But more importantly, because that's how much the DoD was likely willing to spend. And you may pull back and say, that's ridiculous. This is where my tax dollars are going, is towards an $8,000 headset, but I have something that might blow your mind. On average, it takes about $10 million to train an F-22 pilot from basic training to a qualified pilot. $10 million. That's for the support, training, equipment, and of course, flight time. Every hour an F-22 is in the air is about $60,000 down the drain, according to most sources. And that's just from operational costs. Not to mention, this is training we're talking about, and trainees make mistakes, and mistakes get very expensive when the plane you're flying costs $150 million. So, realistic flight simulators are incredibly important to the military. Unlike flying the real thing, being in a simulator doesn't burn any fuel. And if there are serious issues during a flight, respawning in VR is a little easier than real life. And it doesn't stop there. This is the DMT, a flight simulator built for the F-35 by Lockheed Martin, and supposedly it's one of the most advanced simulators out there. And guess what? It costs as much as $9 million per simulator. And look at that, compare that to VR. Now, I think we're starting to see the real value in the XTAL, a headset that has a complete feature set no other headset has, one that was built for the purpose of training, simulation, and engineering in mind. Ironically, the ridiculous price poses some major price cuts for the military. A device that any VR enthusiast sees and cringes at regarding the price is actually a bargain, especially considering the non-VR alternatives. And that's the truly weird part of this headset. It's a device of the future, stuck with the politics of the past, built to serve a purpose that few have but still needs to be fulfilled. Yeah, it's true. I personally did not like using this headset to play standard games. It's more of a pain than anything. I would rather use my standard consumer headsets that I have lying around because, well, that's what they're made for. But when I hop into a virtual cockpit, everything becomes clear, literally and metaphorically. This is the clearest wide FOV headset I have ever used, as long as you aren't literally jumping around. Compared to a Pimax, there's very little, if any, lens distortion around the outside of the lenses. The bulk doesn't matter as much either, as I'm just sitting down. And as I'm transported into a virtual cockpit, I can see why this headset is picked over every other one by the Navy and Air Force and NASA and Audi and everyone else. It all becomes clear, and to be fair, features that are on this headset will likely eventually trickle into our everyday headsets. Who knows, the Quest 3 might have everything this headset has for, 5% of the cost. Eye tracking, foveated rendering, and hand tracking are already finding their way into more and more headsets as is, and display and lens technology is getting cheaper and better as VR grows and the demand offsets the R&D costs. But that doesn't stop the XTAL 8K from being truly odd. It's a weird headset, and this is how the most expensive VR headset in the world actually ends up saving a lot of money, a lot of taxpayers' money. Whether it's the Navy using the XTAL for better and cheaper flight simulators, or automotive designers creating the cars of the future, the difference between a Quest 2 and an XTAL 8K may be $8,000, but the real difference comes from the quality of cheaper training and the engineer's experience, which, ask any engineer, it's priceless. And that's why the XTAL 8K is odd. Virtually odd. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Virtually Odd is back, and if you want more Virtually Odds, then make sure to share this video and give it a nice little thumbs up. It honestly helps me out immensely. I will be streaming on Twitch with this headset today after this video, so if you want to stop by and say what's up, then come on by. Also, if you're looking for like-minded VR enthusiasts to become friends with, then you should come over and join my Discord server. It's always a good time. I want to thank VRGineers for lending me this headset for a few months, and to my Patreon supporters, especially my Omegas like Atomali, Benji, Biz, CPCJ79, Destroyer Biscuit, Furtrap, Fusion Oak, HCG Randon, I'm Naku, It's Lumi VR, John, KR, Lucid VR, Mud King, Ridbo, Ronzarelli, Skirt Cobain, That Brock Guy, Very Evil Shadow, and Zale. I couldn't do any of this without you. Don't forget to like this video if you loved it, subscribe if you want more of this, and hit that freaking bell if you just can't live without it. Much love, Real out.